Good afternoon. My name is Win Kiyama, Musical Director of the Three Nations event. This program began in 2015 as a collaboration between the Oregon China Council, the Consular Office of Japan in Portland, and the Honorary Consulate of Korea in Northern Oregon. The purpose is to bring together the Chinese, Japanese, and Korean communities in the spirit of cooperation and to celebrate the rich artistic traditions practiced within East Asia and Asian American communities in the Pacific Northwest. For today's presentation of Mask Dances of Three Nations, we will feature Yulong, representing China, the Sahomi Tachibana Dance Group, representing Japan, and the Seattle Songpa Sande Nori, representing Korea. Yulong was born in Chengdu, China, where she studied Sichuan opera for decades. Today, she is based in Seattle, directs the American Longyu Chinese Traditional Opera Face Changing Academy, and performs internationally and throughout the Pacific Northwest. The face-changing mask dance was once only practiced by men, but Yulong is officially recognized as a practitioner and inheritor of the face-changing mask genre. Sahomi Tachibana studied Japanese classical dance in her native California and Fukushima, Japan. She performed at Radio City Music Hall and on Broadway, received Japan's Foreign Minister Award, and recently worked as dance consultant for Laika's film Kubo and the Two Strings. Her students will perform two dances today. Nishimonai commemorates the dead, with dancers hiding their faces with black hoods or woven hats. And Kagura Men is a solo comic dance with three masks. Songpa Sande Nori is a traditional Korean mask play from Seoul and the larger Gyeonggi province. These dramas were performed for the court and developed into large-scale productions featuring dance, pantomime, and comic episodes. This genre is recognized as one of Korea's national intangible cultural heritage traditions, and the Seattle Songpa Sande Nori performs this genre throughout Seattle and the Pacific Northwest. Today, we will feature a comic episode. Thank you again for tuning in. Consul General Masaki Shiga and Honorary Consul Greg Caldwell will speak later in the program. Now, I'd like to introduce Jin Lan, President of the Oregon China Council.
I'm Jin Lan, President of Oregon China Council. On behalf of the Board of Directors of Oregon China Council, I would like to extend a warm welcome to you all to watch this special YouTube version of Mask Dance of Three Nations. I would like also to express our gratitude to the artists from Japan, Korea, and China to contribute their unique performance in the face of the pandemic. I would like also to express my appreciation to our co-organizers, Masaki Shiga, Consul General of the Consular Office of Japan in Portland, Craig Caldwell, Honorary Consul, Republic of Korea in Northern Oregon. When Three Nations planned the Mask Dance of Three Nations last July, none of us has expected controversial of the mask wearing in the United States. Mask wearing has a long history in Asia. During the Edo period, that is 1603 to 1868 in Japan, carving mouths with paper or scarce sakaki leaves to prevent one's unclean breath from defiling religious rituals and festivals has been common, and is a custom still observed in Yasaka Shrine in Kyoto and Otori Grand Shrine in Osaka. Tall is the word for mask in Korean. Tall was believed to be capable of warding off illness and danger. The singing and the dancing included in mask performance originate from the practice of praying to gods to maintain peace and prosperity in the village and protect people from danger and illness. The first Chinese mask was made around 3,500 years ago. The purpose was to scare evil spirits and to drive them away from people and their houses. In the US, mask wearing has become an issue of personal freedom, with some arguing making everyone wear face masks infringes on civil liberties. In almost all Western countries, it is assumed that a mask associated with sickness and crime. According to Michael Doherty of the National Review, our objection to veils and masks is hard to articulate because it is so deeply rooted in Christian theology and so deeply rooted in the culture of the West that we almost never consciously think about it. Christian cultures assume that the truth is unveiled. It reveals itself in everything from our cliché, our high pattern of business travel to see people face to face, and in our architecture, where unlike in the Islamic world, our homes are typically open and sociable to the streets, showing their faces. Generally, humans can read subtle facial cues well in familiar people, such as friends and family, but we're not good at reading strangers' faces. Human beings respond nearly instantaneously to new faces, forming judgment about other people's character, emotions, and attitude in less than 100 milliseconds. More concerning are the issues of stereotyping, racial profiling, and xenophobia that have emerged since the mask have become more common. People tend to read character traits such as trustworthiness or aggression from faces, though over and over, psychologists have demonstrated that those inferences are often wrong, and in many cases will reinforce an observer's stereotype. During the pandemic, racism and violence against Asians have increased manifold. Last, today's performance from China, Korea, and Japan showcases the importance of cross-cultural exchanges. The conflict begins where dialogue ceases. Rather than viewing interactions among civilizations through the stereotype lenses, we should embrace dialogue. Various civilizations are not destined to clash. As Chinese president noted, there will be no clash of civilization as long as people were able to appreciate the beauty of all civilizations. Please enjoy the performance of mask dances of Three Nations and appreciate the wisdom of Oriental civilizations. Thank you. Enjoy.
那是不慢，难着不会，会着不难。随你远看近看，前看后看，近看慢看左看右看上看下看，环看竖看，硬是好耍新鲜。脑壳一转，面孔说变就变，睛一眨，不过顺其自然，名扬四海。赞叹层级变脸，绝妙精彩，跟地它全在四川。变脸，变脸，变脸，变脸，变脸，变脸，变脸，变脸。 耍与新鲜。日月变幻，大脚伸去火箭，白蓝剑指变化多端，反复锤炼，技巧不断发展，跟谁救援，老辈子代代相传。
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for this exciting event, Mask Dances of Three Nations. I'm Masaki Shiga, Consul General of Japan in Portland. Today, we'll celebrate the beautiful, graceful, and mysterious traditions of masked dance from China, Japan, and Korea. This event is the sixth in a series that began years ago with Strings of Three Nations in 2015, followed by Dances of Three Nations in 2016, and has continued every year until today. In addition to the pandemic, the recent fires across our region have caused much pain and devastation. We pray for your health and safety in this time, and our deepest gratitude goes out to the healthcare workers, firefighters, and other public figures who continue to work so hard at great risk to themselves to keep the rest of us safe. As a dance performance, today's event will be a visual treat, and we hope that even this virtual format will give you some relief from these difficult times and allow your spirit and imagination to fly free. In today's Masked Dances of Three Nations, the Japanese dance will feature a performance from the Sahomi Tachibana dancers, a traditional masked dance troupe from Poland. Sahomi Tachibana is one of our local treasures who has been teaching traditional Japanese dance here in Poland for over 80 years. Through her long career, she has trained countless students. She has performed in the Broadway production, A Majority of One, and throughout its national tour, as well as serving as a director of the Metropolitan Opera in New York. She is now 96 years old and a recipient of the Foreign Minister of Japan's commendation in recognition of her illustrious career. Today, her accomplished students will be performing, and she will be watching from home. Our concerts embody the spirit of harmonious cooperation within Poland's East Asian community, and I'm so pleased that we are able to continue them even in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. My sincere thanks go to Mr. Jin Lan of the Oregon China Council and Mr. Greg Caldwell, Honorary Consul for the Republic of Korea in Northern Oregon, for their hard work and years of dedication fostering positive relations between our countries, and to Mr. Win Kiyama for his knowledge, insight, and expert direction throughout the Three Nation events. So now everyone, please sit back and enjoy the dance. Thank you.
Kagura Men. In this comic dance, three masks are used to depict various aspects of human nature: happiness, foolishness, and evil. Okame is a homely but happy woman. Hyotoko, a blacksmith who likes to drink and chase women foolishly, and a bit of evil in Ghetto, the devil dance. So here's Kimi with Kagura Men.
'Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for what has been thus far some fantastic performances by our friends and talented dancers representing China and Japan. And in a few minutes, we're going to travel via our imaginations and via YouTube to Korea, which will be represented today by a group from Seattle called the Seattle Songpa Sande Nori. In Korea, the Songpa Sande Nori, which is a combination of mask dancing and a play or a drama, is one of the intangible cultural properties of Korea. It originated in the neighborhood of the Songpa Market in Seoul. It is a 12-act play, though today you will see only one act of the play. And it usually begins with a parade in the neighborhood and in the market to attract attention to the play. And there's usually a shamanistic ritual at the very beginning to ward away evil spirits. Each act of the play has its own storyline. It's a story in itself. And most of those stories have to do with the foibles of human beings. It's like a parable in American culture, and it's something which teaches us a lesson. So on screen you will see today an old Korean scholar who is a bit past his prime and who doesn't have as much money as he once had. And he's abandoned his wife and he's frolicking with his mistress when a younger, stronger, richer man catches the eye of the mistress. And the mistress eventually abandons the old scholar just as he had abandoned his wife. Now in English we might say the lesson would be what goes around comes around, as you will see. Certainly 2020 has been a difficult year for all of us. It began, of course, with COVID-19, then the tragic deaths which led to the Black Lives Matter movement concerned all of us. And then we've had nightly demonstrations and confrontations in our own city here in Portland. And when we thought it couldn't get any worse, of course, the wildfires raged. So these events have left many people feeling this year a bit hopeless. And this is not even to mention the name calling, the politicking, and the sniping that has occurred during the election year. So I think that most of us will be very happy to see the end of 2020. And these troubles and these confrontations are why what we are doing today is so important. Instead of fomenting conflict, we are sharing our music, our dance, our cultures. Instead of viewing others suspiciously, we are celebrating our cooperation and our unity. Instead of raising issues, we are raising friendships by sharing our culture and our music and our dance. So I want to say a special thank you to my colleagues whom I worked with this year from the Oregon China Council and from the Consular Office of Japan here in Portland. I appreciate your friendship, your cooperation, and I appreciate the unity of spirit with which we have worked this year to make this year's event possible for the 6th annual celebration of cultures. So to all of you who are viewing this with us today, I say thank you. And for all of you who helped to make this day possible, thank you to you as well. So let's continue with the Korean performance from the Seattle Songpa Sunday Nori.
소리 한번 주었구나. 그러나 저러나 그거 할망도 아니야.
네 영감 아니요?
영감이고 꽃감이고. 그러나 저러나 할멈 얼굴이 왜 이 모양이 됐나?
내 얼굴 또 영감을 찾았는가? 저 강원도 금강산에 들어가서 식불 해먹고 해먹고 토요도 주워먹고 그 닥치는 대로 먹었더니 거기에 나서 이렇게 되었지.
그러나 저러나 말은 아주 잘하는구만. 야, 그러나 내가 할멈 없는 동안에 하도 적적해서 작은 집을 하나 두었지.
오래들 같은 뒤에서 나보고 작은 집이라니.
마누라야, 작은 집이 아니라 작은 마누라를 얻었다 이 말씀이다.
뭐야 작은 마누라를 도와달라고?
그래 이왕 나온 김에 인사하나 그래.
그래 인형.
왜들 이래? 썩 들어가지고 못하겠네. 빨리 들어가.
들어가라고?
그래 아주 지긋하다.
젊었을 때 나 없으면 못 산다고 하니 이제 늙었으니 들어가라고? 아이고 그래.
들어가. 시간 없어.
그래.
빨리 들어가. 이년아, 너 이리 좀 오너라. 빨랑 와. 예. 내가 살면 얼마나 더 산다고. 내가 죽으면 저 언덕 넘어 한낱가리 개똥밭도 다 너 줄 거고, 부엌에 들어가 깨진 녹그릇도 다 넣어줄 거고, 방 안에 들어가 깨진 농짝도 넣어줄 거다. 길을 가다가 밤 한 톨, 도토리 한 톨을 주시냐. 갈비단 밥은 내가 먹고 쓰디 쓴 도토리는 넣어줄 거다. 아이고. 젊은 것들이 좋다 하는데 이 늙은이가 어쩔 수가 없구나. 그러나 저러나 이 늙은이 마지막 소원이니 마누라 손이나 한번 잡게 해라. 아이고 좋다. 에이, 예끼노.